Good morning and welcome back to the woods. This video is going to have a bit of a Mors Kochanski theme to it, and there's a reason why. Because long-term viewer and subscriber Mr. Voodoo Sausage has sent me this axe. Now this axe is a 1942 Swedish military axe, and he knew that Mors Kochanski rated this highly and probably his favourite survival axe. And he asked me, have you got one? And I said no, and he sent me one. He also sent me a bundle of fatwood as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Sausage, I greatly appreciate it. Well, I've cleaned it up, I've sharpened it, but I haven't put a sharp grind on it. I put a bit of a convex grind, convex bevel on it, so it'll be resilient and good for splitting. Because as you know, I don't do that much chopping, but I do a hell of a lot of splitting. But the first thing I'm going to do is light the fire. It's always the first thing I do. I'm going to light it pretty quick because it's quite cold today, seeing as it was really nice last weekend. Today it's 0 degrees, so it's a bit cold on the hands, and I'm going to light the fire. But I'm going to do it Mors Kochanski's way, well, one of his methods, which is a twig bundle and you're standing up doing it. Unfortunately, the twigs I have here don't really want to play ball. They don't want to snap that easily. So the way he does it, where he grades it down into 3 grades, so thickest at the bottom, he makes a pile, puts the thin stuff inside. That's going to be a bit difficult for me to do, so I'm just going to do the best I can with it. And when I went on the course with Mors, I remember asking him, what's your favourite method of fire lighting? Expected him to say something like bow drill or ferro rod, and he said matches. And this is basically exactly what he had on his pack when we went walking, was a large box of kitchen matches in a plastic bag. And that was his favourite method of lighting fires. He said you can't go wrong with matches, dry twigs, birch bark, that kind of thing. So I'm going to try and grade this wood the best I can, and I'm going to light it with a match. And if I can't get a fire going with a bundle that big, I'm an idiot. You see what I mean? It just doesn't want to snap. It just wants to... Oh, that did snap. Now Mors would have a big bundle and he'd make it into a cone so he could get inside. Oh, this just doesn't want to play ball, so I'll just do it my way. Right, doing the vampire thing. I got 2 matches here, 2 matches here. Got my bundle, got my thin stuff. I'm going to put them there underneath. Now tying it up would be a good option as well, but I'm not going to bother. I'm going to use 2. Drop the box. and I had my 2 spare, and that's the way to do it. I remember him saying that if you stand up, more oxygen gets to the flames. Yeah, that's burning good now. When you're standing up, more oxygen gets to the flames and it goes up better. Well, sometimes when I'm on the floor and I'll use a match, although I usually use bigger matches than these. I usually use the big kitchen matches or Yuko matches. Well, I work just fine. I could have probably done it with a 1 match, but 2 gives that just more of a flame. It works a little bit better. I got my Chinese pot today. I've also got my posh coffee press from last week. I'm going to have a nice posh coffee after. I've put them there because I think it's going to fall over. Well, I've had yet another new knife, and I've been after one of these for a while. And this is Fallkniven H1 in 3G. And I bought this off a collector, so I had it a bit cheaper than new. And I think he mentioned that they've stopped making them, which is a shame. Now, I've been after one of these for ages, but I was holding out for a 3G because I didn't have a Fallkniven with 3G. Just brand new. It's got one of these shit sheaths. I'm saying this shit, they work just fine. It's just they're not particularly pretty. And the intention was to put a stack leather handle on this and a nice leather sheath. But I actually quite like the handle. And the blade is very bush tool-esque. It could probably do with a little dip down there for me. So if I like it, I think I will grind it down a little bit. So I've got a sharp portion for a ferro rod, and I've got that little clip, which I quite like. So I'm going to play with that later. Not very Mors Kochanski, really. I was thinking of coming and bringing my old Mora and dangle it around my neck. But seeing as I had this, I just had to bring it to play with it. Well, I'm going to have a cuppa now. And then I'm going to get the axe out. I've also got my Boreal 21 saw, and I've changed the blade. So I've got a dry wood blade on there, and hopefully that'll work a lot better than the stock blade, which I really didn't like. Loved the saw, didn't like that blade. Right, cup of tea, and I'll be back with you.
How are you?
It's Lionel Joseph from Cameroon.
That's it.
From the African Education Council.
Really go, really go, really go, wah! Really go, really go, really go, wah! Oh, nice to see someone.
Oh my God, it's been 2 months, Nick. 2 months. Time for me to play with this axe then. Well, one thing I will say about this axe is this head is a hell of a lot heavier than any of my other heads, especially the Gransford's. Apart from the Remia's axe, that's got quite a heavy head. The only thing is it's completely off balance. All the weight is bare, and it's just not right. Hoping this grind is okay, because it is quite steep with me. We'll give it a go. I've got a log bare now, and I'm going to chop it in half. Not really ideal on the floor, but it's going to have to do. Well, that took a while. Right then, we have an issue. Movement. Now when I got it, I wasn't quite sure how good this was on. That's a bit of a mess. And I wanted to try it first before I actually took it off, made a new wedge and redid it. Well, now I know it needs it because that has moved well over 1/8 of an inch. Disappointing, but nothing I can't fix. Should be fine though for a bit of splitting. I'll give it a whack on the handle now and it'll go back in. Lucky for me, Nick's here today and he's got an axe, so I can give it a whack on there. Now unfortunately, that's a bit small. There we are, it's back on. Thank you, Nick. Well, yes, I was disappointed, so show you again. It's a bit of a mess. Well, what I'm going to have to do now is take these wedges out, make another wooden wedge, bit of oak or something, put it in. I probably won't use that wedge again, but I'll use the round wedge and go right through the middle. Well, that is a shame, but it'll be fine for a bit of splitting. Right then, got the new blade on here. I'm going to cut a couple of rounds off here, split them up with the axe. So if you're wondering why I cut them a section at the time, is because it's easier to hold them when they're big than just chopping a piece off and going up. It's a lot easier doing it that way. Method in my madness. And that's why we use saws and not chop wood up, because chopping wood is not energy efficient. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. I get it.
Bit better than last time, with a small axe.
Yes. I just pulled that out the chopping log and there's movement. I'm going to split the last one up, then I'm going to leave it go. Well, apart from the wonky head, which I will sort next week, this is an awesome splitter. This has got plenty of head weight, much better than any Grand's Force I've got. Handle's comfortable. I know it's old, 1942. It says it on there. But yeah, I like this axe. I could have probably done the grind a bit different for chopping. But chopping on the floor like I did is crap anyway. It's dangerous. I'd rather not do it. If I was felling, be great. Nothing's moving about. I definitely like this axe. The great Kochanski was spot on. Just got to fix that head now. Plenty of firewood anyway. Let's have a posh coffee then. This is going to blow your socks off, Nick.
Oh my god, I'll be like Billy Wills, isn't it?
You'll be having palpitations for the next week.
I fucking do have palpitations now because I'm off caffeine.
I asked my mother the other day why she's drinking decaf and she said it stopped the palpitations.
My head goes all fucked.
Time to have a little play with this thing. I like this. I do. Well, all that wood that I split up now, I'm going to pick a few choice pieces. Bear in mind, this isn't a review. This is just me using this for the first time. I'm going to pick a few nice straight pieces now, batten them down with this. Perhaps make a little feather stick. I don't think I'm going to light that with a ferro rod, but I'll give it a go anyway. And if any of you are watching and you're going to say, why are you battening with a knife when you've got an axe? It's because I want to. Because I have had a few silly comments saying, why are you battening with a knife when you've got an axe? It's because I'm testing the knife and I'm seeing how good it is. Crappy bit. Oh, nice note on that one. Try a bigger one. Well, nothing wrong with that. I've gone through a few knots too. Edge looks good. I'll run my nail over it. Fine. As I said earlier, I've never tried 3G, so I don't know what it's like. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty similar to the Cos. Well, it's not too bad, but it's no Scandi. Need to find a better bit of wood. I decided to put my big lump ferro rod in my bag. Well, that didn't want to work. I love a sharp spine. Sadly, this H1 hasn't got one.
That was it feathering.
Yeah, feather's okay.
It's
no Scandi though. So thoughts on the tools? Well, I just made this feather stick now sitting here comfortably and not trying to balance on the log, and that's a pretty good feather stick. So that knife battens well, feather sticks well. Obviously I didn't do enough work to try and dull the edge, and to be honest with you, 3G, I don't think I'm going to dull it for a while. I'll give it a strop when I get home though. So yes, thumbs up for the knife. Shame about the spine, but I expected that because most of the Fallknivens I've had don't have a sharp spine anyway. So thumbs up for the knife, I like it. The axe, quite disappointed about the movement, but it's nothing I can't sort out. As I said earlier, I'll take that wedge out, I'll knock the head back in further, put a wooden wedge in, and then put the round wedge in on top of it, and it'll be fine, it'll be solid. As a splitter, it's great. That extra weight just piddles through. Really happy with that. Chopping, I don't do much chopping anyway. If I was felling a tree, it would be great. Plenty of weight, comfortable handle. I think the great Kochanski was spot on saying this is a survival axe. If I was going to do a hell of a lot of chopping on the floor, I'll change that grind, but I'm not going to anyway. That's what a saw's for. And that brings me on to the saw. Changing the blade did make a difference, not a massive difference. Cleaner cut and less wobbling when I'm starting off. Grip the wood a lot easier, so I think changing the blade's a good idea. Well, that's it for today, folks. I'm going. Nick is still with me. Say goodbye, Nick.
Goodbye.
I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra!
No sharp spine.
Like sausage. Like striking a ferro rod with your old boy.
That's good.
That good. Hot black coffee now. Yeah. And hopefully. And start that again.
You seem to have...
Well, testing axes and stuff out, you just end up with a lot of firewood. Oh, piss flaps. Cut that out.
yeah, they're going fucking awesome.
So for all you people who say that, fuck off.